Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. We've got Group 1 action to preview in the form of the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes at Ascot this weekend. We're a couple of days out from it. We just got decks through, although we knew what was likely. So we'll get stuck into that very shortly. That we is Charlie Poste and Andrew Blair White joining me, Tom Stanley. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe wherever you're listening. It's the best no-cost way of supporting our podcast. And use the bonus code POD50 if you'd like 50 quid in free bets. You basically bet 50, you get 50 in free bets just by using the bonus code POD50. The terms and conditions are on the website and anywhere you'd like to sign up. So please head there and do so if you want 50 quid in free bets. Right, King George VI, Queen Elizabeth Stakes. It's Andrew and Charlie versus me. We are between Calandagan and Jan Bruegel. So ABW, step forward. The floor is yours. Make your case for the Bruegel, please.
Yeah, look, it comes down to looking back at Epsom the last day when these two were against each other in the coronation. And I just think he's the stronger stayer of the two of them over a mile and a half. That's what it comes down to, really. Calandagan's a very, very talented horse. He deserved to get his Group 1 and his day back in France the last day. But I still think probably in optimum conditions, he's a mile 3 horse. He's a strongly run mile 2 seems to be a small bit on the sharp side. A strongly run a mile 4 seems to be stretching his stamina a small bit. Jan Bruegel, I think from last year we saw he got better with every run. He obviously won a St. Ledger. He's a very strong stayer at this trip. He's a funny horse to watch. He's the most ungenuine looking, genuine horse I think I've ever seen. He does carry his head a little bit awkwardly, but he does keep finding, and Ryan Moore has the key to him. I just think this race, they'll set it up for stamina. They won't let it turn into a pace battle. And I think if you came down to the final furlong and these two were locking horns again, I think you'd only want to be on Jan Bruegel in a battle.
They will do, Charlie, exactly what they did at Epsom, where they got the tactics absolutely nailed on with continuous going forward, try and get Calandagan into a battle. And although I'm tipping against him, I agree with everything Andrew says about the setup of the race and why it might well suit Jan Bruegel better. They're just going to try and repeat that trick, surely.
You could, yeah, completely agree with a lot of what Andrew said. You know, as you know, I'm not convinced either of them loved the track at Epsom the last day, but this track is surely made for Jan Bruegel, and the cheap pieces are an interesting addition as well. You know, to try and hopefully make Ryan's life a bit easier. You know, going into that last quarter mile of the race, as you said, Continuous is in there to set the pace, just like at Epsom. They'll stretch him out. Ryan's going to commit from the turn and hopefully have too much in the locker from a stamina perspective to see Calandagan off. It's an interesting race. I mean, again, the other two have possibilities, Calpana and Rebels Romance, but I don't know. For me, I think it would be disappointing if one of the top two in the market didn't win this. And if it's carrying my money, I'd just rather be with the Aidan O'Brien horse.
I'm not a strong opinion against at all. I just think back at Ascot, away from a straight and a rise at the end like Epsom, I'd rather be with Calandagan. And I want to give Mikhail Barcelona one more chance effectively to get it right against Jan Bruegel. It's a price thing. I think Calandagan back here at that scene of the Ever the Seventh last year was arguably his best performance. He was really good last time, but I thought he was electric last year at the track. And I think he'll try and repeat that trick. Barcelona almost marked Jan Bruegel last time, and that played to Jan Bruegel's strengths. I think he just wants to get in earlier and try and go past him and do him for speed. Now, I appreciate Continuous might try and shelve that by going forward and making it a test. I've got in my mind the Prince of Wales Stakes from this year and this race last year, where I know they normally get it right, but a couple of times they don't, and they didn't in those two, and they went too hard and set it up for a closer. You know, that could ultimately suit a horse like Rebels Romance who stays really well. If they go a bit more patient with the horse and give him a pick up the pieces ride, then that could be interesting. Because I don't think he's going to outclass the rest of these Rebels Romance. But the way I want to play it is Mikhail Barcelona getting it right here at Ascot, which has got a shorter straight. It's not the longest straight in the world. And just try and give him one run at Jan Bruegel to go on and go past him sooner rather than later. You know, maybe two from home, and then see if Jan Bruegel can come and get him. I think that's the best way. But it's like I say, it's not the strongest opinion. But if I was pushed, I'd go with him. I kind of wanted to be against you for a bit of fun, to be honest. But at Ascot, Calan for me, Jan Bruegel for the two of you. Fascinating race. I know it's just 5, but I think the matchup again is really interesting. Right, there we are. That's the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Both of them joint favourites, 2.75 currently. This is the Back in Time Sodexo Live Princess Margaret Stakes. Just you, Charlie. I think I'm sitting out. You are, Andrew, as well, aren't you? So just you, Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's a trappy, good race. Plenty of talented 2-year-old fillies in here. I came down with Midnight Tango. Ed Walker's flying along, having a very good season. She finished behind the likely favourite on Saturday, Dance to the Music on debut, then won at Hamilton, and then ran well in a listed race behind Argentine Tango, who subsequently has ran well in a Group 2 back at Newmarket. I didn't think she was ideally positioned that day at Newmarket. She was a closer, probably a race that suited more prominent racers, and I think this track will suit better. And at the prices, she's 13.0 as opposed to the favourite, who's at 3.25. I just thought she was interesting, as in from a small stakes play, because there's plenty of talented ones in amongst the rest of them.
So that's the Princess Margaret. Another fillies race is the Longines Valiant Stakes at 220. Charlie and I are in agreement with Chantilly Lace. I'll come to you, Andrew, but I'll kick off with Chantilly Lace. She was my horse to follow this season. That was off the back of her Salisbury win last year at the back end. A meeting, I've said this before, but where Rafe Beckett's unleashed Remarque and Blue Stocking before, and I spoke to Rafe after the race, and he was very positive about this filly. So much belief in her that she went and lined up in the Guineas on reappearance. She ran with credit that day. Now I know you can question the form a touch, maybe, but it's a Guineas, isn't it? And Lake Victoria's come out and boosted the form subsequently. And I thought she ran okay behind Sasseni last time. Now, going into the season, Rafe had built her as a filly who on pedigree might get a little bit further, but he said she's showing so much speed at home that they'll stick to a mile with her, and that's what they're doing. She shaped last time. I thought she might get 10, but ultimately, I just think the line with her is dropping in grade. I know she's not won this season, but she's only been beaten 2.5 and 3.5 lengths, and 1 in the Classic and both Group 1s. And I think dropping in grade, there's still a bit of juice in her price, to be honest, around about 5.0. I think we put 6, but 5.0 Chantilly Lace. Charlie, I'd be really disappointed if she doesn't win because of what she's shown and because she's my horse to follow this year.
Completely agree. I mean, like as you said, 2 good runs in Group 1s, dropping down to a Group 3. Ross Orion's an excellent rider, but you've also got Ryan Moore booked, I think, from what I saw. So I thought it was very obvious for a race that's been won by some very good horses back over the last 10 years. So you'd think that she'd be using this as a stepping stone to go back up the top company.
Weirdly, Ryan was on, and now I haven't got a rider on. Isn't that weird? On the post.
I mean, Ryan's definitely the honour on the BHA site.
You got your BHA access. There you are.
Yeah.
Have you got that, Andrew? You got BHA access, or are you not that special?
No, only privy to some, I think.
No, yeah, quite right. Yeah, you got to be flogging horses for millions to be able to get on the BHA site. Go on, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on Willie McCreary's Jancis in this. Look, she was an exciting horse last year when she came out and won her first 2 starts. She was very impressive at Leopardstown, winning a Group 3 on only her second start. She was then pitched into the Matron and was kind of ran over in that. And I think they've been slightly kind of on the back foot since then. It hasn't really worked out this year. I suppose I'm just taking a small play on the fact that she's been contesting much better types of open races than this. She wasn't that far behind Porta Fortuna 2 starts ago, relatively close up behind Whirl last time out. I do understand that. I can completely see the case with Chantilly Lace. Just not sure that mile 3-year-old fillies division is actually that good. And I just maybe take a little bit of a play on something that's a little bit more kind of battle hardened, has ran in plenty of really deep kind of Group 2 and Group 1 open age races, and the chances might bring that little bit more experience to the party. And Willie McCreary doesn't usually send them over. to England unless he feels he has a very decent chance.
Moving on to the Moët Chandon International Stakes, Andrew and I are in agreement with one here, and I've got another one. I'll let you make the case for Northern Express first of all. I backed him at the Royal Meeting, Andrew. He might not win, but at 12.0, he's rock solid over this course and distance.
Yeah, very much so. Kind of keeping to last year's form. Obviously, winning this race last year off 102. He's back here off 100. I think when you look at Michael Dodds, like by his own admission, I think it's been a relatively slow year for his standards. And when they were running at Royal Ascot, they weren't running particularly well. So the fact that he finished 7th and he ran a very respectable race, I think augurs very well. I thought he was a relative eye catcher last time out at Haydock when finishing 4th. And as I say, he comes back to a course and distance he loves and knows. Paul Mulrennan's back on him. So there's just plenty of kind of ticks in his box. He's one of those horses, of course, there's unexposed horses in there. There's horses that could go and blow this race apart. But I'd be very, very disappointed if this horse isn't in the first 4 or 5.
That's my angle with him. And I also wanted to back one of those that was drawn the wrong side at the Royal Meeting in the race won by Never So Brave, Billy Joe and Caroolian Bay. And look, Caroolian Bay's a much bigger price. They've both run once since. Caroolian Bay a bit disappointingly, Billy Joe pretty well. And although Caroolian Bay's a much bigger price, just a slight ground concern with him if it is quick, which I think it will be. I think there'll be some good deferment places come race time. So that'll suit Billy Joe. Ran well behind More Thunder last time when he probably just wanted a stiffer track. As I say, completely the wrong side of Ascot. It was never going to work out there. Finished last of 3 in that group, but 13.0, he must have a right chance of being on the premises as well. Charlie?
Yeah, zoom for me. So I'm hoping the Brave Beckett Yard are going to double up fairly quickly. Really good reappearance at Salisbury in a listed race, and then ran well at the Royal Meeting, the Wokingham behind Get It. Sort of stand side away from where the majority of the action happened. I think the step up to 7 is a positive. And I mean, again, it's funny, Tom, the ground was lightning quick at the Royal Meeting. I'm going on, hopefully tomorrow is going to be slower than that, which I think is in Zoom's favour. I'm not sure with the very fast conditions at Salisbury and Ascot this year have been particularly what he wants. Again, a slower ground than this would probably be even better still, but he's a high quality performer. I'm taking it to ride more towards good ground than much quicker than that. And I think that'll be in his favour. And at 17.0, I'm going to back him winning place. He's drawn very close to your horse, Northern Express, so I'm hoping we can get a toe from.
All right, the Mar handicap is up next. We've got 3 different horses going up. I'll kick off with the obvious one, that's Bullet Point. I don't like tipping favourites in races like this, but hey, at the Royal Meeting, it worked out right on the straight course. It's just so obvious. Bullet Point was on a roll coming in here. I had slight ground concerns for him in Ascot, but he ran an absolute belter over the other side to My Cloud. He won his group his side. They came from off the speed near side. They went forward far side. Greek Order was in this. I would have backed that horse, to be honest, who chased home My Cloud this side. But just enough juice in the price, I thought, at 4.5 for Bullet Point. Up £3 for what is one of the standout bit of handicap forms at the Royal Meeting, I thought. Charlie?
Yeah, I can definitely see that without question. I'm actually going to go with a massive price for the horse that has a bit of form tying in with Bullet Point. Mythical Guest for the Margesson Yard. I mean, he gets a huge swing at the weights for the run where he was 3rd behind Bullet Point at Newmarket in April. I take completely that Bullet Point is unexposed on a massively upward trajectory. So I'm not saying that that's going to be enough to turn it around, but we're getting 26.0 about this one. He then ran well behind My Cloud, who took the Hunt Cup apart, as we know, and he ran a solid race again on his latest start behind Unassuming back at the track. So he runs this track well enough. And I just thought it was interesting with the booking of Warren Fenterman as well, taking off a further £5. He's had a brilliant start to his career. Young rider, very much up on the up, and I'm not saying that's going to make the difference, but it takes him down to a very handy weight at 8 stone 4, and I just think he's also at 26.0. I'm happy to back him win and place, because I just can see him running a big race, whether it be quite big enough to win, but his form ties in with some very, very good handicappers.
Andrew, all yours.
Yeah, going to go for Cosibello here for Charlie Fellows. I just think out of plenty of these, he's one that's got an awful lot still to improve and is very unexposed as a result. He was 2 from 2 in novices, winning at Chelmsford at Kempton. He then was beaten on his handicap debut at Chester off 93. I remember thinking it at the time, and when I watched the replay again this morning, I physically still cannot understand how he didn't win. He got beaten a short head, and he's been risen £2 for that. But James Doyle takes over, which I think is a very eye-catching booking. As I say, he's got less miles on the clock than plenty of these. I thought, looking at the draw initially, Stall 2 I wasn't in love with, but when you look at it, Taroom, Sisyphean, and Bo Pedro, 3 of the horses in the first 5 or 6 in the betting, all near enough in them. So sometimes with these straight course races at Ascot, it depends almost who you're with rather than what side of the track you are. So I'm hoping that's not a major inconvenience. He doesn't have perhaps the same level of big field handicap experience as some of these, but he certainly therefore brings the unexposed angle to it. And I think at 9.0, he's a very fair price.
All right. That is Ascot done. We move on to York. They're blaring out Rocket Man at Sandown, which is where I am, by the way. It's just, what a banger that is. I think that's my favourite Elton. I think.
Yeah. Has to be up there.
Anyone else want to chip in? Charlie, what's your favourite Elton John?
Oh God, I'm not a huge fan of Elton John, Tom. I'll be honest with you.
Get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Got to be booted.
That is unbelievable. What you basically saying, Charlie, is you can't name an Elton John song. That's what you say.
Pretty much. On the spot like this, under pressure. No, I don't think I can. No.
Andrew, can you name?
I know. I'd be taking Rocket Man all day long. It has to be a short price.
Yeah. Dan Hussey's put Tiny Dancer, and that's up there. Yeah, very good. Anyway, I'll keep you posted what they play next at Sandown. York dash handicap. Oh, that's a PA test. That's less good. Right, I better mute myself. Andrew, help.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Arctic Thunder at a bit of a price in the dash handicap. I was lucky enough to get down to Ed Walker's for press day. I had a Goodwood this week, and they were talking about this horse because he obviously had an entry in the Stewards Cup. He's just been a little bit unfortunate since he's come to the yard from Andrew Balding's 2 wins last year for his former trainer. He was pulled up just a little bit lame on his first start for the yard, then was a very eye-catching second at Haydock. Got no room whatsoever at Newcastle last day, went behind 5,000 to 1. Pocklington, who was second, is fab for this, but there's not a whole pile in this, I don't think. He's off a mark of 89, which should be exploitable. He's a strong travelling horse, which I think will suit York. He's drawn 21, so majorly stand side. Thus far this season at York, you want to be more central to far side based on the way the sprints have been going. But I'm hoping, usually as the year goes on, they do tend to come further stand side in years gone by. So fingers crossed that's something that will suit this horse. Kieran Schumacher booked a ride. And as we will find out, I'm looking for a big day from Ed Walker up at York on Saturday.
Charlie, who do you like?
I actually put in the very same horse as Andrew initially, but I was slightly put off by the draw now, so that's going to probably be a big mistake. Because I agree with all his comments about the horse, and I think the horse is definitely one to follow. Just was unsure of 21. So I've gone with one low, Jubilee Walk for the James Ferguson team. Won at the track last year in May, and then went off favourite for the Palace of Holyrood House. Ran okay there. Out in Bahrain, didn't really happen, but had a wind up and ran okay over 6 at Chester, latest start. Tongue tie added as well. And I just am hoping if he can build on that, I think he's enough speed to be back to 5. Draw in the right place. Again, 13.0. I'll be putting him up win and place. But like I say, I wouldn't put anyone off Ed Walker's if you're not concerned by the draw.
I'm sticking up 2 here, so apologies to our producer because I've added one in when I pulled the race up again. So Strike Red, first of all, is very obvious. Course and distance winner, has got some good form here, just a decent recent form, but the key is back at this track where he's ever so consistent and back off the best part of £6-7 lower than where he started the season. Now he does want a bit of a setup here, but I think he'll get it. I'm going against my usual backing far side. I'll come to that because he's the horse I want to back, and it is all pace relative. There's a bit of pace up the stern side as well. So I thought Strike Red was just. I know he's a 7-year-old, but he's a bit like Northern Express really at Ascot. This horse at York, he chased Elmon Jed last year, who I can see why his favourite. I've had him in my tracker this year. I've just been a bit disappointed with his cut around so far this season, and he was very much drawn the right side when he did win at the track, and that was on quick ground, and it's not going to be rattling quick for Elmon Jed. So Strike Red's the first one. The other one at a massive price is Jungle Drums. 67.0. You'll get bigger than that on Matchbook as well on the day when the markets flesh out. He is a course and distance winner for Carl Burke in listed company back end of last year with a bit of cut in the ground. I think it'd be good come race time at York. He's not shown much so far this season. 2 runs at Maydam where I thought the track would suit. Southern last time, but back at the scene of his last success, drawn 1 over towards that far side rail. I just don't want to leave him go on back to that sort of price because he is capable, and they were excited about the horse out at Maydam, probably disappointed. He's down to a mark of 94. I've got to have a dart at him at 67.0. Drawn stall 1 to try and make all over towards the far side rail. He might be useless, but yeah, that price, I definitely don't want to leave him alone. 240 is the York Stakes. We're all with Almacar. How's this horse 2.0, Charlie?
Not sure. Really not sure. As in, I think he's, yeah. I mean, I just can't see it. I thought he'd be way shorter than that. You know, he the form with Ombudsman, the ground. He's taken his form to new levels as a 4-year-old. He's tactically versatile, and also as well that for whatever reason, 3-year-olds have a really, really ordinary record in this with a lot of the main market rivals. No winner in the last 10 years. There haven't been heaps of them have tried, but they've nothing has really got close to taking this out. I thought Almacan was, glaringly obvious, really, really strong on him, and amazed he's 2.0.
I just think he'll win. Like, I genuinely think he could go close in an arc. I think he's a proper horse.
Yeah.
And Andrew, no disrespect to Stanhope Gardens, he ran really well last time, but and I can see the angle back in trip, but I think there was an element of him being a touch flattered. I'm not sure the rest in behind were much copping the Derby. I think Almacab's a proper horse. Andrew.
Yeah, no, completely agree. He's a class horse. Like they've so much confidence in him as well. I think at the end of the season, it will just be a toss-up whether this horse is running in a Champion Stakes or an Arc. He does like a little bit of dig in the ground. Maybe that's what people are voting against him for. But at the same stage, there's been plenty of rain up in Yorkshire. Like I see in the last couple of days, they've been at Beverley and Pontefract running on heavy ground. So I think it would be right up his street. Obviously, brilliant ride for Kieran Schumacher to pick up. The only thing is that this race in years gone by has served up a few odd races, tactical affairs. I think that might be the only reason people would be trying to take him on, because I think he's relatively bulletproof in this.
Then we come on to the jump jockeys. Nunthorpe, just you, Charlie. Take it away.
Just me, crikey.
Yeah, I don't know
my former colleagues.
You didn't fancy a ride in this one, Charlie, no?
I wouldn't mind that, Andrew. I'll be honest with you. You know, paid a full riding fee to ride over 5 furlongs at York. It's money for nothing. Yeah, I'd be keen for this. Yeah. Just with the ground as well. I spoke to Anthea Moorshead yesterday. You know, she thinks they'll be good to soft ground tomorrow. So I think for Almacan it'll be absolutely fine. You know, as in they've had plenty of rain over the last sort of 2 weeks. Jump jockeys Nunthorpe. I've gone with a former winner. Birkenhead won this 3 years ago off £1 higher. He loves Catrick, and he won there in April off 64. He's only off 66 on Saturday. He's drawn in 9. He's held his form since that victory. He's only beat a length at Ripon the last day. And, you know, again, he's 17.0, going to back and win and place. Jonathan England's on him again, who rode him. We rode him last year when he was drawn the wrong side. And then he rode him when he won here 3 years ago. So, yeah, Birkenhead, 17.0, win and place.
Okay, any other bets? Andrew, just you.
Yeah, just got one at York and 350, a horse called Per Contra for Tim Easterby and David Allen. He was with the Sangsters for a couple of years, has had 3 career wins, has dropped down the weights despite running relatively respectively for this yard, including second last week to the Reverend at Ripon. That horse is a horse clearly well ahead of his mark off 94. I don't think there's anything glaringly obvious like him in this race. He's been coming down to a workable mark, getting better with each run. And Tim Easterby, like, he had a very good start to the season. I kind of thought it could never last the whole season, but he keeps just banging them in. Every time I've turned on the telly, he's got another winner. So Per Contra for me, I hope he'll be a decent enough price as well in the 350.
Okay, Matchbook Zero, long shot time. Matchbook Zero goes live an hour before each race. You're most likely to get best odds because there's 0 margin and there's 0 commission. Mine is Billy Joe in the International at 13.0. Andrew?
Arctic Thunder for Ed Walker in the Dash at York.
Charlie?
Another one for Ed Walker, Midnight Tango in the Princess Margaret.
They're playing more out, John. It's actually relentless. They love it. This is Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
I mean, that's a good song as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. It's a duet with Lulu. Anyway, this is really shit content. Apologies, everyone. Right. Best bets. Mine is Chantilly Lace at 5.0. Andrew?
Jan Bruegel for me, but that is halfly to do with the fact that Charlie had already put down Almacan.
Charlie?
Yeah, I raced through putting my selections in. Yeah, Almacan. So I'll share it with you, Andrew, because I like Jan Bruegel as well. So yeah,
that treble's got a great chance of copying. So that's a £5 money back special. You've got to bet those horses in a treble. Chantilly Lace in the 220 at Ascot, Jan Bruegel in the 410 at Ascot, and Almacan in the 240 at York. If you put those in a treble, you put £5 on it. If it doesn't win, you get your money back. Simple as that. So well worth doing for new and existing customers. Charlie, Andrew, thanks very much. Thanks for joining in, everyone. Please head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all of our best bets. You can find them all written down for you there. There'll also be links to watch back and listen back if you'd like to do that. And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.